The 2023 Spanish Grand Prix is coming up this weekend, and there are some big changes coming up. Some teams are bringing upgrades. The circuit itself is making an upgrade, and I'm going to give you my predictions for this weekend for the Spanish Grand Prix. Let's get into it. Something special I like to do with my prediction videos is that I like to get you involved as well, either through my Discord, link down below, or in my Twitch chat over at twitch.tv/MrDakota0, also linked down below. We do the same predictions every race weekend, and I give you an opportunity to voice what you think is going to happen, as well as my personal thoughts. But for that, let's go ahead and just jump into these predictions. But first, if you are a Formula One fan, go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below if you aren't already. We would love to have you. And yeah, let's go ahead, jump into our first prediction. The first prediction that we're going to make for the Spanish Grand Prix is the same one we do every week, and it is our biggest positive surprise going into the weekend. This could be a team, it could be a driver, it could be something completely unrelated, and so far for this weekend, I have made a prediction for the final category. I am predicting that my biggest positive surprise is that the new final corner, the non-chicane version of the final corner, is going to make Spain way more exciting. That chicane was really a love or hate relationship. There was really no real in between with it, but I think giving drivers a better exit out of that final corner, or those final couple of corners, I guess we should say, is going to make a huge difference on the run down to turn one. We might be able to see some more close racing without that chicane kind of getting in the way. So that's my biggest positive surprise, is that the final non-chicane version of the last two corners of Barcelona-Catalunya is going to make Spain a lot more exciting. And of course, like I mentioned, my chat also gets their say, and they gave a couple, as we had a couple of varying degrees of predictions, one of which we had a Charles Leclerc survives. It seems like he has had such a struggle to start the season, and while he did have a fairly clean weekend in Monaco last weekend, a grid penalty really set him behind the 8 ball there. And so one prediction for that is just Charles Leclerc survives Spain, and then we get out of there and we go next. The other main prediction that we got was that Yuki Tsunoda. He seems to have been on great form recently, at least until some brake issues got in the way in Monaco. Well, we feel like he's only going to improve, and we're predicting a potential points finish for Yuki Tsunoda. Moving on to our next prediction, it is the complete opposite side of the first coin. We are going with our biggest disappointment for the weekend. Again, could be a driver, could be a team. I have gone for the fact that it has come out this week leading up to the weekend that Red Bull is planning on bringing upgrades to Spain. And so I think my biggest disappointment is going to be that the Red Bull upgrades make them even faster, and none of the other upgrades brought by other teams are going to help at all. So my biggest disappointment might be that Red Bull just gets a little more untouchable as we head into round 8 of the season. It's not going to be a good one, I think. As for my chat, they also given a split decision here. One is that Ferrari, they think Ferrari is just going to be a big disappointment. We know that Ferrari is planning on bringing some upgrades to Spain, hoping to try and settle their SF23 car that has really seemed to have been on a razor's edge. And you know what? Sometimes it just doesn't work. We saw it last year when they brought upgrades to France. It really upset the car. Unfortunately, they think that Ferrari's just not going to get it right again. And then our other prediction is Fernando Alonso. We think he might be doing a bit of overreaching in his home race. So some non-believers in El Plan in my chat and my Discord. Our next prediction brings us to Saturday, the qualifying top 3 for Spain. And I have gone with a relatively safe pick this week. I think last week, if you missed it, I went 0 for 11 in my total prediction points, and so this week I've gone a little safer because it just seems to be the way it's going to go this week and this year, it feels like. So for my qualifying results, I have predicted a P3 finish for one Sergio Perez. I think Perez is going to bounce back from a shocker of a weekend in Monaco, and hopefully that he'll be able to bounce back a little bit better this week in Spain. For P2, I have gone with the hometown hero, Fernando Alonso. I think Fernando is going to come this weekend extremely focused and to put in a good effort. And so I think Fernando Alonso will beat out Sergio Perez for P2 in qualifying, but that won't keep him on the top spot pole position. Max Verstappen. I mean, what we saw him do in qualifying around Monaco is nothing short of magical. And realistically, at this point, like I said, I just need some points after going 0 for 11 last time out. It just feels like Max is pole to lose, and that's my prediction. As for my chat, they have gone relatively similar with one slight change. For pole position, they have also gone for Max Verstappen, P2 of Fernando Alonso, and a P3, a split decision between Sergio Perez and Carlos Sainz. We have a Sainz believer that he might also come with a little extra juice in the tank for his home race, and you know what? I wouldn't be disappointed to see it. We are flying through these predictions, and we head now to race Sunday. We are predicting the podium in Spain, and I'm going to jump right into it. And this took, so I actually did a bit of research and a bit of a look back, and I know that Mercedes brought some upgrades to Monaco, but you're really not going to get to see the full extent of the upgrades impact. But I believe in Mercedes, and I believe in the results that this driver has brought to Spain over the years. So my P3, yes, just P3, Lewis Hamilton on the podium in Spain. He's won Spain as many times as I could see going back a handful of years, and so I think this is a circuit that suits him pretty well, and we're hoping that those Mercedes upgrades are going to bring them a little bit closer to Aston Martin and Red Bull. So Lewis Hamilton, P3 in my race predictions. Moving to P2, we're just going to breeze through these. Fernando Alonso, P2. I think he'll, just similarly to Monaco, he'll come extremely focused and ready to rock and roll. I think he'll have a very good race, but it won't keep him from the top step of the podium, reserved specifically for the Dutchman, Max Verstappen, winning the Spain Grand Prix. I mean, like I said in my qualifying predictions, I need some easy wins, and it just feels like Max is inevitable at this point. So unless something crazy happens in the race, which honestly, if something crazy happens and we get some excitement, I will happily be wrong here. But for now, I am predicting Max Verstappen to win in Spain this weekend. As for my chat, they have gone with something relatively close, but also not at all. For P3, they have both Mercedes, one going for George Russell, the other going for Lewis Hamilton. In P2, we have Sergio Perez for both. There's the similar part. And then on the win, we have a Max Verstappen, give me some points. And then they also have a Fernando Alonso winning in Spain. I think they went a little off the reservation, kind of similarly to how I did in Monaco. They're just hoping for some excitement, and they're prepared to be wrong. But they have Fernando Alonso winning in Spain, Sergio Perez, and then Lewis Hamilton, while the other had a Verstappen win, a Perez P2, and a George Russell P3. So still some Mercs on the podium, and whether or not it's going to be a Verstappen win or an Alonso win, only time will tell. And then lastly, but surely not leastly, you wouldn't be this channel and it wouldn't be me in my chat if we didn't make our official Haas prediction of the race weekend. I have been a little high on Haas results here recently, and so I think this week we need to rein it back a little bit. While I do think that Spain could suit the Haas car a little better than Monaco, because it couldn't have gotten much worse if we're being entirely honest, but I have gotten a little more reserved, but still a little twinkling of optimism in there at the same time. So for my official Haas prediction of the weekend, I am going with 2 cars into Q2, a very common one for me. It proved me very wrong in Monaco. No cars into Q3 and 1 car in the points. This one I'm kind of hoping for a little bit of chaos. Obviously it might come down to where we end up qualifying, and it could bite me in the butt just like it did in Monaco if we have a bad qualifying again. But I believe there might be some craziness and chaos on the cars, and we might sneak a car into the points. And there you go. That's my Haas prediction of the race weekend. And then obviously for my chats, they both gave their own separate and then as for my chat, they gave 2 predictions for Haas this weekend. One predicted that both cars also into Q2. We love the Haas optimism here. And then also no points from them, but I can understand that. And they specifically are calling out that Nico Hülkenberg out qualifies Kevin Magnussen, getting a little spicy on picking one driver over the other. And as for our other predictor, we have one Q1 knockout for Kevin Magnussen, a Q3 appearance for Nico Hülkenberg, a P10 finish, and a 1 DNF. So presumably one car might just get a little bold, and just based on their qualifying predictions, it looks like Nico Hülkenberg might finish in P10, and Kevin Magnussen might get a little antsy into turn one. It might lead to a DNF. They're going for chaos, like I said. So there's your Haas predictions of the week. Guys, there we go. My official predictions for the 2023 Spanish Grand Prix. What do you think? What predictions do you have? I would love to know down in the comments below. Let me know what you think is going to happen around Spain. Are we going to get anything exciting? Or is it just going to be another Red Bull runaway? Who knows? I'm excited to find out. And you can always check back after the race to see my official predictions reviewed, as well as some quick hits on what I think of the Spanish Grand Prix. But until then, enjoy the race weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one.